Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your program, Lighting. Lighting is a program of the Ministry of Finance through the Advanced Program of Specialization in Public Finance, PSSFP, with object of throwing more light on the different updates and mutations concerning taxes. Here, we bring to you experts in the domain of public finance to break down all these worries concerning taxes. In today's edition, we shall be receiving Mr. Zofwa Solomon. He is a high representative from the Ministry of Finance, and he will be answering the question concerning the tax on the recent money transfer we all know. Good evening, Mr. Zofwa Solomon.
Thank you, Maya Tabon, for the special invitation. If I'm here this evening is to represent the President of the Piloting Committee of the Advanced Program of Specialization in Public Finance that happens to be Mr. Dr. Ashil Basa Nestor. We are here this evening because of the invitation you sent to our structure, the Advanced Program of Specialization in Public Finance. The recent money transfer tax placed by the Cameroon government on money transfer has come in to help into the income of the state, the necessary income needed by the state to manage the affairs of the state, the activities of the nation. It is of importance to note that this recent tax adopted in the budget of 2022 budget has created more criticisms from Cameroonians.
So actually, you were explaining what this tax on money transfer is all about, right? And now I'm having a question for you. Why has the tax been put in place by the state?
The tax on money transfer has been put in place by the government. It is a mechanism like any other tax that the government put in place in order to raise funds for its income to manage the state affairs.
Okay, so what are the different observations that you have made since they implemented this tax?
These taxes that have been implemented and put into the 2022 budget by the state, there are more criticisms from basic Cameroonians. Those tax collectors working in this domain of taxes has taken it for themselves not to respect the quota given for charges for this money transfer, for this activity to effectively carry on well. Like the issue of coins here, if somebody needs to pay 190 francs, for instance, you will be forced to pay 200 francs.
Exactly.
Where do these extra charges goes to? Who collect them? There are things that the state need to put in place mechanism to check it out, how we can do to effectively collect this tax without making it a constraint on the man on the ground.
How is this going to impact the population? Because we can notice it is heavy since this has been increased. So many people are complaining. So many Cameroonians are complaining about the tax issue. So how do you think this can impact the population in the long run? Are they going to change from this mentality, or are they going to accept it easily and keep on moving with it?
It is true, it is a burden. It is true with the changing nature of activities and the global nature of the world that we live in today. The complaints coming up at the level of charges, sending money entails charges, withdrawing it entails charges. It becomes difficult for us with our means to manage it out, to see into it. But notwithstanding the fact that the era where we are, to move around with money or stay with money in the house is risky. We need to carry out our daily activities. What we need now is to look into it. What is needed for us to effectively go around? It is of importance to note again here that this money transfer is been placed, this tax has been placed on the electronic wallet of Cameroonians.
How do you think in the long run it's going to impact the Cameroonians? Are their mentality is going to change in the long run, or you think they will still be so reluctant to accept it or to deal with it?
Mobile money kiosks, as we talk, are still very operational. The Cameroonian society are getting used to it. They are adjusting the system. If you now withdraw money, you manage the charges and see how you can do to cope with it. The Cameroonian society, I think, they are getting to understand that the government means well for them.
Mr. Solomon, with your permission, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to watch a short documentation realized at the Ministry of Finance concerning the same topic. So, Mr. Solomon, we have just watched this short documentation. So, can you tell me what are your impressions, or what have you noted from what we have just watched?
I thank you for bringing our lightning into desktop, into our offices. I think looking at this program this morning, I'm touched that the government is doing everything possible to see into it that Cameroonians are being informed, to
Exactly.
see into it that Cameroonians are being enlightened, updated with today's activities, with the decisions taken by the state.
Exactly. So it was really a privilege meeting these high representatives of the Ministry of Public Finance who throw more light on this issue of money transfer taxes. What do you suggest as a solution, or for the states, what can they do so that this burden should be lightened?
Mechanisms to be put in place by the state for checks to be carried out for these mobile money operators. So they should not extort money from Cameroonians. They should respect the quota being given by the Minister of Finance, being put in place by the state. It should be respected.
So that's it. So thank you, Mr. Zofwa Solomon, for this enlightenment. It was a privilege to have you.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
So ladies and gentlemen, we simply have heard what this expert has expressed to us this evening. We have surely burdens with this new tax that has been implemented on the different money transfer, but it's an issue that is going to be handled by the state, and with time we shall know how to adapt with it and live with it. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program. It was a privilege having you guys watching and listening to us, and we will see you in our next program.